Wondering if that's got any legs. Could be a potential risk. I don't really like the Dow Jones long. I much prefer it short. It's a nice short. I think the breaker structure for this one would be about there. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome one and all to this afternoon's Markets Now session, where we're going to dig into what's going on throughout this week ahead. We've got a very, very busy week. Do you know what? I've just remembered. It's the times have changed again, haven't they? Isn't it? Is the US Opens back at 2:30 again, isn't it? Where's Scotty D? We need Scotty D in the room to give us a heads up. I'm pretty sure. I mean, the clocks don't change in the UK until the 29th this year because it's a funny one. But I'm pretty certain the US Open is back to its old times. Anyway, it doesn't matter now. That's fine. I will confirm that and then change the event times throughout the rest of the week. I'm actually quite impressed that I remembered myself. But that's okay. So listen, hope everyone's doing well. Good afternoon to everybody out there on the side of YouTube as well. Good to see you out there, team. And yeah, like I said, we've got a really, really busy week this week. Lots going on, lots to dig into. So we will take it away from there. So first of all, we are looking this week at the UK FTSE. Now, the FTSE at the moment has had a nice bearish rotation. It's come into some liquidity down at the lows here, and I personally, I think it may have more room to continue trading lower, but I think a bounce is going to be the first point of call. So I do believe the price is likely going to be coming up from those previous lows, come into the middle point of liquidity. You can see this on the chart up here, team. Come into this area, and then ultimately this sort of median is going to be the decision point of whether or not we get the continuation back to the previous highs, or ultimately if we reject that point and come back down to those previous lows. So we'll have to all kind of stay tuned on that one when it gets to this area. I'm also arguably interested in trading it up to this point in the first place as well. So possibly have to look at setting up either an intraday trading opportunity in the UK FTSE or aim to trade the longs upon the European Opens as best we can. I know the European Opens, to be honest, have been very, very intermittent in terms of their quality recently, same as the US Opens. But we'll kind of try and make a plan of attack for that one so we can make a few quid out of that. Up next, good afternoon, Matthew. Good to see you, bud. So up next, we've got the Aussie NZD. This was a potential pipeline idea from last week's markets, and I still think it's looking pretty good. I've actually got the chart open for the Aussie NZD now. The only downside to this one is it looks already like it's weakening off, and it hasn't actually bitten into the point of liquidity above price. That's the problem. So we do need it to complete its move up to around let's say 120, 135, just as a kind of estimate before we can get interest on selling it. Alternatively, we could look at a fresh breaker structure on the intraday timeframes to get involved in this one, but it does carry a lot of inherent risk because we just don't have that commercial knee-jerk reaction taking place as a result of it stopping before we get there. So I am going to have to be, I'll have to be pretty vigilant on that one as to how we're going to navigate it. And, even if we do decide to get involved a little bit early. Moving on down then, we've got UK Brent. Look, in a nutshell, looking for a previous high point. That's what I'm really aiming for. Last week, we were waiting for the price action pullback to start looking at buying in. It's a runaway train, guys. There's not much we can do about it at this rate. We've still got the demand vacuum in tow for UK Brent as a result of the conflicts in the Middle East and especially the situation with the Hormuz Strait at the moment and the ships being targeted. So it's pretty much sort of out of action. Over the weekend as well, we did hear that the US has now reopened business with Russia. So now the US is buying oil again from Russia, which is then just going to fuel the conflict in Ukraine and you know Putin's further escalations if there are any. I mean, I can't imagine there won't be, to be honest. So there is that situation going on behind the scenes, but demand certainly is still there. So I think this week probably looking at that previous high, if not a pretty good attempt at it, unless we hear of anything major to do with either the Hamas Strait or the Middle East tensions. So we've got all that to contend with as well in the background. Hey, good evening to you, Braden. Good to see you, buddy. So yeah, we've got that going on in the background there with our oil markets, and then finally we've got gold this week at a decision point currently. Possible rejection from the lows back up to the highs, or the alternative is we actually get the bounce in the next sort of couple of hours. So the verdict's still out on gold at the moment. If we get the breaker structure below this area in here, then that's a nice run down there. That's a really, really nice run, and I would definitely be happy taking a few trades in that one. And then once we're down here, we can look at buying back. The last time we were trading here, we got a really nice commercial move straight the way up, ultimately leading to a high that was pretty much close to the ATH. So it would be nice to be able to buy back into gold from down there, but also profit on the shorts as well. Now, as you've all, I imagine, seen at this stage, I know for those of you out there on the other side of the trading community, you may have not downloaded your reports yet, or you may not have joined the trading room yet to be able to download them. FYI, feel free to come and join us, and you can download your report for free. We have got one hell of a trading week this week in terms of fundamental catalysts. It's a complete and utter blowout. We've got the Euro CPI and US PPI to kick the week off, showing relatively modest volatility, to be honest, from those two. But things really start ramping up from Tuesday, Wednesday. We've got the BOC interest rate decision in the middle of the day at 1:30, and then it's followed up by, of course, the big Fed event, which is in the evening at 7 p.m. So that's going to be, the big one of the week, obviously, the Fed. Yeah, no worries, Tony Tone. Good afternoon to you, buddy. That's fine. No apology necessary, mate. That's absolutely fine. So yeah, we've got the Fed interest rate decision, the FOMC statement at the press conference, of course, all kicking off. Yeah, well, as it happens, Tony Tone, I think I may have remembered, actually. I'll start with the positive side of this. I think the US Opens are back at 2:30 again. We've had the 2-week layover, so I think it's back at 2:30 again. Yeah, so if anyone can give me a heads up on that, please. I can't actually confirm it. I'm just using memory from previous years. But I know one of the clocks don't change in the UK until the 29th, and I never remember having the weird US UK DST situation for more than 2 weeks. So, and obviously the 29th is 2 weeks away, which means we would have been a month at this stage. So yeah, I think we're back at 2:30 at the moment. So that's where we are. So I'm gonna do my best to attend the FOMC this week. I have managed to make the last couple, and it's been okay. The FOMC last time was unfortunately a bit of a washout. If you remember, the FOMC was a complete non-impact event. In the press conference itself, there wasn't anything interesting, no real interesting takeaways from that either. But the one before that was actually really, really good and very insightful. So it's a real toss-up at the moment. I am going to do my best to be present for this one and do a live event around it. Of course, there are other factors at play here in order for that to come off, but please stay tuned and I will update everyone ASAP on that matter. And then on Thursday, we have another 2 interest rate decisions to tie off the week. We've got the BOE interest rate decision, Bank of England that is, and we've got the European Central Bank's interest rate decision thereafter. So an incredibly busy week. I may also do another live event for the ECB and the BOE because those two are only an hour apart. Um, or I may decide to. I don't know what I'm deciding yet. I don't know what I've decided yet on that because the thing is that would be maybe a 2.5 hour session, which is a little bit tiring, a little bit tiresome, especially when you've got so many other things to do in the day. So I'll decide on that matter, but I think we'll hit off at least one of them. So we'll do a live event for the FOMC, and then I'll be on live again for either the BOE or the ECB this week, and then we can take it from there. But in terms of the level of volatility, in terms of the impact expectancy, it's a lot. We've got, I mean, the BOC's even registered as a 6 out of 10 this week. FOMC event, the interest rate decisions at 8, the statements are 7, the press conferences are 9, the BOE interest rate decision another 6, ECB's a 5 and a 6. So a lot going on to drive the markets along this week that we haven't really seen over the course of the last couple of months or so. Now, in terms of the SSV this week, we don't have any major notable callouts. We haven't done for ages, frankly. I guess we could discuss the VIX slightly. The VIX did have a huge spike up last week. That has come down and pretty much shaved off all of the gains that it did have. But we have risen from 48 to 50, well, basically 54. So that's a pretty sizable jump up there in market volatility. And this will be, of course, all surrounding Donald Trump and the White House administration and everything that they're doing at the moment, and Middle East tensions and so on and so forth. You know, all of that stuff that none of us can make sense of on a day-to-day basis. Hey, good afternoon, D. Hey guys, finally made it. Freaking work, man. Yeah, no, I know the struggles with work. Rest assured, that's all good. So moving down then into the economic and order book impact report, then again, a whopping number here. We've actually got the FOMC press conference registering as a 10 out of 10 this week. So whatever it is, it's anticipating a lot of market volatility from what could be happening behind the scenes with the Fed and what Chair Powell's sort of comments are going to be about the economy and things that are happening geopolitically as well, which he won't necessarily comment on too closely, but he will certainly look at the economic impact of that, which is, I mean, ultimately that's what we want, isn't it? You know, that's what we follow. So moving on down in terms of the commercial, non-commercial, long, shorts, commodities at 58.61% bought. No surprise there, really. Bond markets at 53.23, indices at 50.76, so pretty much not break even, pretty much balanced in terms of long, shorts in those. I'm certainly interested in the commodities one, though. Natural gas is on the radar again, and it should be. So it's come back down. Last week's trading opportunity that we never managed to take because of the time, if you recall. So natural gas currently trading at 310. I think this trade idea for this week could certainly still be on the cards, looking pretty nice, a 1 to 3.2. Market's currently trading at 3109. I mean, if we come back down here, it's going to invalidate, ultimately, it's going to invalidate the long. But it's still looking, in my sort of where from where I'm standing, I think this still looks pretty good and still has legs. So, yeah, we can, we'll catch up on that throughout the sessions anyway, throughout the course of the week. I appreciate a lot of you guys can't see that right now because I can't stream 2 screens at once inside the room. So moving down then into equities in focus this week. We've got Palantir, we've got FN, Newmac, VRT, all of which are pretty decent. And the main one this week is Micron Technologies. It's AI data center stuff. Of course, most of the real strong buy side sentiment assets are at the moment. Kind of just got to deal with it, guys. Got to roll with the flow. I mean, ultimately, if I'm correct in my theory about the AI mega cycle, we've probably only got about another 6 months to a year left of buying left in it before everything starts selling off hugely, or unless there's any other major technological advancements that we don't yet know about, of course, that could come down the line. But I would just make as much money as we can as early on as we can with these AI equities. And then in terms of institutional buying interests, we've got industrials. start off with AI infrastructure. We got industrials, energy, and then biotech takes fourth place at 1.3 billion on inflows over the weekend. Biotechnology. That's an interesting one. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. That sums it up. So as I mentioned, extremely busy fundamental week. Not only do we have the geopolitical backdrop of Middle East, US, Russia, China, everything going on between the lines there as well. We now have, of course, a whole array of interest rate decisions and economic events which will be taking place, driving those asset values all over the place. It would be nice to see some consistency, but ultimately a lot of news events like this can at times cause quite a mixed view in terms of sentiment shifts. So you may see one day a bullish run in Euro USD, but the next day it'll be a bear market again, from an intraday perspective, that is. So it really is just about kind of remaining vigilant, taking each day as it comes, trying to be in and out of the market as quickly as possible, looking for the intraday trades, not really focusing too much on the swing style stuff at this stage, and going from there. So before I wrap up this market report section of the session today, just a disclaimer: the information provided in this market analysis report is for informational and educational purposes only and should not be considered as financial advice or a recommendation to trade or invest. Trading in the financial markets involves significant risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Okay, so please feel free to go and check out T's and C's if you want to know any more. Right. Good afternoon to you, Jack. Good to see you, buddy. I will perhaps be seeing you tonight. When are you, my friend? Or tomorrow? Hit me up. Let me know. Right. Let's move on then. Let's have a look at these US markets this afternoon. See if we've got anything of interest. Hopefully we do. Let's fly over here to the charts and have a look. Okay. Yeah, good man, Jack. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, let's do it. Normal time, mate. Okay, US 30 Dow Jones currently trading at 46,972. Nice big run we're having at the moment here. Nice big push. Have a lot of inconsistent lows. That's the nicest area around that I can see here. So we'll have to scrap the extreme lows, but that's fine because I probably wouldn't be looking for anything sizable like that on a Monday anyway. We've got a potential ceiling that price is coming into pretty much now, actually. It's pretty much there. And if we break above this, and we're still looking long by the time the market opens up, then we'll be looking to take the market back up to around 47.13. Interestingly enough, I'm wondering if that's got any... It doesn't really look like it should at this stage, but they all have to start somewhere, don't they? Wondering if that's got any legs. Could be a potential risk. I don't really like the Dow Jones long. Much prefer it short. It's a nice short. I think the breaker structure for this one would be about there. Pretty sizable move for a Monday though, guys. I'm not sure about that. One hell of a risk reward on it. Yeah, I mean you could squeeze a 1 to 3.5 to 1 to 4 out of that one easily. Very easily. So yeah, relatively nice short there on the Dow Jones. The long at this moment in time, I'm going to have to put a freeze on. Let's have a look at the rest of them, see if they've got any long opportunity. That's a nicer intraday. That's a nicer day trade, sorry. Yeah, than the Dow has. Much nicer. So we've got this area in here as well. It's almost acting as the breaker structure point. Entry, target, and your stop loss. I mean, that's a 1 to 3 right there. I much prefer that NAS 100 short than the Dow Jones, FYI. So in terms of prioritization list and looking for the ones that look the best, Nas 100 short definitely looks nicer than the Dow Jones one at the moment. Again, though, I'm concerned about the longs with this one. What's the S&P looking like? Aha. Okay, so we've got that point in there. And then we've got the point above. And there's your long. We found the long. And the long's going to be on the S&P 500. Entry, whoops. Entry, target, and the stop loss. Yeah, we can get really nice and aggressive on the stop, to be honest, on this one. I think if it goes, this will be done in the space of a few minutes. Is there much point building the short? I think it's going to be identical to the NAS 100. So at least we've got a long in the S&P today. We've got the short in the NAS 100. I will send out the short in the Dow Jones. It is, you know, obviously the most sizable trade. It's an absolute monstrosity in comparison to the others that we looked at. But I probably would be concerned about its efficiency once live. Bearing in mind we're on a Monday, everything that's going on as well at the moment behind the scenes just doesn't sit quite right with me. I would rather limit exposure with regards to time. And yeah, knock out that NAS 100, the S&P 500. But we'll see. We'll see. There does look like there's a little bit of a reaction going on from liquidity at the moment. The market is coming back down. It could be good. It could be good. I think we'll just have to wait and see. Be patient with this one. All right. And that's that, team. That is that. So we are currently at around 10 to 3. 10 to 3, sorry, 10 to 1. 10 to 3. I was wishing the day away. I was wishing our market open away. So you guys have got ample opportunity to go away, grab some lunch, and relax a little bit before it all kicks off. Prepare your charts as much as you can. I will send out the trading opportunities into the UTCF alerts momentarily, so you can gain access to those. And let's see what we can do. So are there any questions, ladies and gents? All good, Tony Tone. Good man. Yep. Glad to hear it. All good, H&C. All good, Braden. All good, Matthew. D's doing good as well. All right, team. That's great. Well, listen, if you do have any other questions, please fire me a note in the Traders Lounge or the general chat, and we can pick that up in due course. If not, good luck this afternoon. Let's see what we can do. And yeah, get ready for one hell of a week ahead. That's what I'd say. Time to batten down the hatches, team. Take care, guys. I'll see you then. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.